Just then, Khufu rushed into the library, screaming and slapping his head. "Suppose I shouldn't have said that," I muttered. Carter told the Shapti to return an armour pallet, and both statue and stone disappeared. Then we followed the baboon upstairs. The serpopods were back, their fur wet and slimy from the river, and they weren't happy. They prowled the broken ledge of the terrace, their snake necks whipping round as they sniffed the doors, looking for a way in. They spat poison that steamed and bubbled on the glass. Their forked tongues darted in and out. What? Khufu picked up Muffin, who was sitting on the sofa, and offered me the cat. "I really don't think that will help," I told him. Khufu insisted. Neither Muffin nor cat ended in O, so I guess Khufu was not trying to offer me a snack. But I didn't know what he was on about. I took the cat just to shut him up. Meow. Muffin looked up at me. "Be all right," I promised, trying not to sound scared. Out of my mind. "The house is protected by magic." "Sadie," Carter said, "they found something." The serpopods had converged at the left-hand door and were intently sniffing the handle. "Isn't it locked?" I asked. Both monsters smashed their ugly faces against the glass. The door shuddered. Blue hieroglyphs glowed along the door frame, but their light was faint. "I don't like this," Carter murmured. I prayed that the monsters would give up, or that perhaps Philip of Macedonia would climb back to the terrace. Do crocodiles climb? And renew the fight. Instead, the monsters smashed their heads against the glass again. This time a web of cracks appeared. The blue hieroglyphs flickered and died. Khufu screamed. He waved his hand vaguely at the cat. "Maybe if I try the hard E spell," I said. Carter shook his head. "You almost fainted after you blew up those doors. I want you passing out, or worse." Carter once again surprised me. He tugged a strange sword from one of Amos's wall displays. The blade had an odd crescent moon curve and looked horribly impractical. "You can't be serious," I said. "Unless you've got a better idea," he stammered, his face beading with perspiration. "It's me, you, and the baboon against those things." I'm sure Carter was trying to be brave in his own extremely unbrave way. He was shaking worse than I was. If anyone was going to pass out, I feared it would be him, and I didn't fancy him doing that while holding a sharp object. Then the serpopod struck a third time, and the door shattered. We backed up to the foot of Thoth's statue as the creature stalked into the great room. Khufu threw his basketball, which bounced harmlessly off the first monster's head. Then he launched himself at the serpopod. "Khufu, don't!" Carter yelled, but the baboon sank his fangs into the monster's neck. The serpopod lashed around trying to bite him. Khufu leaped off, but the monster was quick. It used its head like a bat and smacked poor Khufu in mid-air, sending him straight through the shattered door, over the broken terrace and into the void. I wanted to sob, but there wasn't time. The serpopods came towards us. We couldn't outrun them. Carter raised his sword. I pointed my hand at the first monster and tried to speak the hard E spell, but my voice stuck in my throat. "Meow," Muffin said, more insistently. Why was the cat still nestled in my arm and not running away in terror? Then I remembered something Amos had said. "Muffin will protect you." Was that what Khufu had been trying to remind me? It seemed impossible, but I stammered, "Muffin? I order you to protect us." I tossed her on the floor. Just for a moment the silver pendant on her collar seemed to gleam. Then the cat arched her back leisurely, sat down, and began licking her front paw. Well, really, what was I expecting? Heroics? The two red-eyed monsters bared their fangs. They raised their heads and prepared to strike, and an explosion of dry air blasted through the room. It was so powerful it knocked Carter and me to the floor. The serpopods stumbled and backed away. I staggered to my feet and realized that the center of the blast had been Muffin. My cat was no longer there. In her place was a woman, small and lithe like a gymnast. Her jet-black hair was tied in a ponytail. She wore a skin-tight leopard-skin jumpsuit, and Muffin's pendant around her neck. She turned and grinned at me, and her eyes were still Muffin's, yellow with black feline pupils. "About time," she chided. The Serpipards got over their shock and charged the Catwoman. Their heads struck with lightning speed. They should have ripped her in two, but the cat lady leaped straight up, flipping 3 times, and landed above them, perched on the mantel. She flexed her wrists, and 2 enormous knives shot from her sleeves into her hands. Aha! Fun! The monsters charged. She launched herself between them, dancing and dodging with incredible grace, letting them lash at her futilely, while she threaded their necks together. When she stepped away, the Serpipards were hopelessly entwined. The more they struggled, the tighter the knots became. They trampled back and forth, knocking over furniture and roaring in frustrations. Poor things, the Catwoman purred. Let me help. Her knives flashed, and the 2 monsters' heads thudded to the floor at her feet. Their bodies collapsed and dissolved into enormous piles of sand. So much for my playthings, the woman said sadly. From sand they come, and to sand they return. She turned towards us, and the knife shot back into her sleeves. Carter, Sadie, we should leave. Worse would be coming. Carter made a choking sound. Worse? Who? How? What? All in good time. The woman stretched her arms above her head with great satisfaction. So good to be in human form again. Now, Sadie, can you open us a door through the duat, please? I blinked. No. I don't know how. The woman narrowed her eyes, clearly disappointed. Shame. We'll need more power then. An obelisk. But that's in London, I protested. We can't. There's a nearer one in Central Park. I tried to avoid Manhattan, but this is an emergency. We'll just pop over and open a portal. A portal to where? I demanded. Who are you, and why are you my cat? The woman smiled. For now, we just want a portal out of danger. As for my name, it's not Muffin. Thank you very much. It's Bast, Carter interrupted. Your pendant is the symbol of Bast, goddess of cats. I thought it was just decoration, but that's you, isn't it? Very good, Carter, Bast said. Now come, while we can still make it out of here alive. 9. We run from 4 guys in skirts. So, yeah, our cat was a goddess. What else is new? She didn't give us much time to talk about it. She ordered me to the library to grab my dad's magic kit. When I came back, she was arguing with Sadie about Khufu and Philip. We have to search for them, Sadie insisted. They'll be fine, said Bast. However, we will not be unless we leave now. I raised my hand. Excuse me, Miss Goddess Lady. Amos told us the house was safe, Bast snorted. Carter, the defences were too easily breached. Someone sabotaged them. What do you mean? Who? Only a magician of the house could have done it. Another magician? I asked. Why would another magician want to sabotage Amos's house? Oh, Carter, Bast sighed. So young, so innocent. Magicians are devious creatures. Could be a million reasons why one would backstab another. But we don't have time to discuss it. Now, come on. She grabbed her arms and led us out to the front door. She sheathed her knives, but she still had some wicked sharp claws for fingernails that hurt as they dug into my skin. As soon as we stepped outside, the cold wind stung my eyes. We climbed down a long flight of metal stairs into the industrial yard that surrounded the factory. Dad's work bag was heavy on my shoulder. The curved sword I'd strapped across my back felt cold against my thin linen clothes. I started to sweat during the Serpipard attack, and now my perspiration felt like it was turning to ice. I looked around for more monsters, but the yard seemed abandoned. Old construction equipment lay in rusting heaps, a bulldozer, a crane with a wrecking ball, a couple of cement mixers. Piles of sheet metal and stacks of crates made a maze of obstacles between the house and the street a few hundred yards away. We were about halfway across the yard when an old grey tomcat stepped in our path. One of his ears was torn. His left eye was swollen shut. Judging from his scars, he'd spent most of his life fighting. Bast crouched and stared at the cat. He looked at her calmly. Thank you, Bas said. The old tomcat trotted off towards the river. What was that about? Sadie asked. One of my subjects, offering help. He'll spread the news about our predicament. Soon every cat in New York will be on alert. He was so battered, Sadie said. If he's your subject, couldn't you heal him? And take away his marks of honour? A cat's battle scars are part of his identity. I couldn't. Suddenly Bast tensed. She dragged us behind a stack of crates. What is it? Whispered. She flexed her wrists and her knives slid into her hands. She peeked over the top of the crates, every muscle in her body trembling. I tried to see what she was looking at, but there was nothing except the old wrecking ball crane. Bast's mouth twitched with excitement. Her eyes were fixed on the huge metal ball. I'd seen kittens look like that when they stalked catnip toy mice, or pieces of string, or rubber balls. Balls? No, Bast was an ancient goddess. Surely she wouldn't. This could be it. She shifted her weight. Stay very, very still. There's no one there, Sadie hissed. I started to say, Bast lunged over the crates. She flew 30 feet through the air, knives flashing, and landed on the wrecking ball with such force that she broke the chain. The cat goddess and the huge metal sphere smashed into the dirt and went rolling across the yard. Wow! Bast wailed. The wrecking ball rolled straight over her, but she didn't appear hurt. She leaped off and pounced again. Her knives sliced through the metal like wet clay. Within seconds, the wrecking ball was reduced to a mound of scraps. Bast sheathed her blades. Safe now. Sadie and I looked at each other. You saved us from a metal ball, Sadie said. You never know, Bast said. It could have been hostile. Just then a deep boom shook the ground. I looked back at the mansion. Tendrils of blue fire curled from the top windows. Come on, Bast said. Our time is up. I thought maybe she'd whisk us off by magic, or at least hail a taxi. Instead, Bast borrowed a silver Lexus convertible. Oh, yes, she purred. I like this one. Come along, children. But this isn't yours, I pointed out. My dear, I'm a cat. Everything I see is mine. She touched the ignition and the keyhole sparked. The engine began to purr. No, Sadie, not like a cat, like an engine. Bast, I said, you can't just... Sadie elbowed me. We'll work out how to return it later, Carter. Right now we've got an emergency. She pointed back towards the mansion. Blue flames and smoke now billowed from every window. But that wasn't the scary part. Coming down the stairs were 4 men carrying a large box, like an oversized coffin with long handles sticking out at both ends. The box was covered with a black shroud and looked big enough for at least 2 bodies. The 4 men wore only kilts and sandals. Their coppery skin glinted in the sun as if made of metal. Oh, that's bad, I said. In the car, please. I decided not to ask questions. Sadie beat me to the shotgun seat, so I climbed in the back. The 4 metallic guys with the box were racing across the yard, coming straight for us at an unbelievable speed. Before I even had my seatbelt on, Bast hit the gas. We tore through the streets of Brooklyn, weaving insanely through traffic, riding over sidewalks, narrowly missing pedestrians. Bast drove with reflexes that were, well, cat-like. Any human trying to drive so fast would have had a dozen wrecks, but she got us safely onto the Williamsburg Bridge. I thought for sure we must have lost our pursuers, but when I looked back, the 4 copper men with the black box were weaving in and out of traffic. They appeared to be jogging at a normal pace, but they passed cars that were doing 50. The bodies blurred like choppy images in an old movie, as if they were out of sync with the regular stream of time. What are they? I asked. Shapti?